Well, hello again and welcome to Newsmakers, everybody. I'm Dan Cummings. It's good to see you. Well, despite everything else that has grabbed our attention in Albany, there is the matter of a state budget in the works, and it's a critical one as New York tries to claw its way out of the pandemic. The state university system has come under more than its share of stress during the pandemic, and there were issues for SUNY before COVID-19. Today on our program, we welcome back to Newsmakers Fred Kowal. He is president of United University Professions, UUP, representing more than 42,000 academic and professional faculty and retirees in the SUNY system at its 29 campuses, including the teaching hospitals and health science centers in Syracuse and downstate. UUP is the nation's largest higher education union, so Fred Kowal speaks for a lot of people. Good to have you on the program, Fred. Welcome back.
Thank you, Dan. It's good to be back.
Let's talk a little bit about the pandemic first, since that is riveting everybody's attention still. Give me the sense from UUP's point of view, first of all, of how the testing and the vaccination is going on campus for your members and for the whole campus communities. Well,
thanks for raising that first and foremost, because this is crucial. This is about the health and safety of the communities we live and work in. The testing situation is in a very good, situation right now. And that is because we have been working very closely with SUNY and its relatively new chancellor, Dr. Jim Alatras, starting last fall. And his emphasis was the same emphasis that we have, and that is that there needed to be aggressive testing of all individuals at campus communities regularly. And so by the time we reached the start of the spring semester, we were in agreement. There needed to be testing of every individual on campus, and including those who would be just coming to campus every now and then. And so that's what's in place at every SUNY campus. We have seen some cases develop at a couple of campuses, but we have had no outbreaks, as was the case last fall at Oneonta, for instance. We also had an outbreak at Cortland and a couple other campuses. This semester, so far, we haven't seen it, and it is because of the regular testing, aggressive testing that is going on.
You mentioned... Oh, go ahead, please. Yes. Vaccination.
With regard to vaccinations, of course, with Upstate being a major vaccination center, that has been very important for the Syracuse community and all of Upstate. But also, we have had one issue that we've been trying to work through, and that is that those who are teaching in person, instructors, have been included in the 1B category. But a whole host of our members who are professionals, who work in student life, who work in residence halls, who work in libraries, they have not been included yet. We are petitioning the governor. We have been pressing the governor on this, as has the chancellor. We're all on the same page on this. We believe that everyone who is working with students on campuses has to be vaccinated as soon as possible to stop any potential outbreaks. So that, in a nutshell, is where we are on both of those major issues.
You mentioned, Fred, SUNY Cortland earlier. They have had an issue. Hopefully it's been tamped down by now. But when it was at its peak with that off-campus party and perhaps other parties we don't know about fueling an outbreak, the town gown relationship got a little tattered. And I know your members, many of them live obviously right in those communities where they teach and serve. You can speak to Cortland specifically or to the system generally. How are the town gown relationships doing during the pandemic?
You know, Dan, that's why from the start, going back to last June, we called for testing of everyone who was going to be returning for the fall semester, including our own members, and we are mandated to be tested. We agreed to that. We wanted to set an example, but it was also about those town gown relations. We wanted to show that those communities in which we live and work, that we want to protect them as well. What happened at Cortland last fall, what has happened again at Cortland, is very disturbing. This is a situation that has to be brought under control. I think that we are dealing, of course, with the population. We all remember how we were, 18, 19, 20 years old. The reality is people in that age group are going to do irresponsible things. And there needs to be very rigorous enforcement of the rules on campus and, for that matter, off campus. Students need to be responsible members of the communities. That is also why, though, Dan, we called for every SUNY campus to be a vaccination site. We would like to have an expanded amount of vaccinations available, and I am hopeful that we will see that now with the Biden administration working very hard on this problem. But the second thing is we need to make sure that the community see campuses as part of who they are and are about making the communities healthy and better. So yes, it is a concern, and COVID has the potential, as at Cortland, to really tear asunder that relationship between a community and a campus, and we just can't have that.
Good news that athletics for the spring at least came back, right? We're moving in the right direction.
We are, and I think that is because of all of the safety efforts that have been undertaken by SUNY, and we applaud those efforts, and that's what has to be consistent going forward as well.
You are right in the middle of this, and you represent members that work at every campus, and I don't want you to be a prognosticator extraordinaire, but everything we're hearing from the federal level on down, every adult in America might be vaccinated, or could be if they wanted to, by the end of May. And maybe the summer will be even better than we thought. If you look forward to the fall, Fred, fall of 2021, as students come back to their campuses now, do you think it will be something near normal for the SUNY system, or getting a lot closer?
I think, yes, Dan. I think that there is a very strong likelihood that we will see more of the normal number of students on campuses by then, with two potential caveats. One is how fast students or those in that age group are vaccinated. That's going to be the biggest issue. We also obviously have the age situation with the vaccines now, basically for those only over 18. We do get students in who are below the age of 18. I'm very confident that those who are the members of UUP, faculty, professional staff, all of us, I believe we will certainly be vaccinated before the start of the fall semester. But again, it's the entire community that needs to be taken care of. The other caveat is what happens with the other strains, the new strains that are occurring. And they are occurring because of really two factors. One, within our own country, irresponsible leaders in other states who are not taking the necessary steps that we have taken in New York to stop this pandemic. And then there is the issue that we have countries around the world who don't have the resources or access to vaccines, where you can have the outbreaks of new strains that can spread globally very quickly. So given those caveats, I'm confident that we're going to be much closer to a normal campus situation come fall, and let's hope so, because that's what will benefit everyone in our communities.
All right, well, beyond the pandemic, we've got to talk money with Fred Kowal, because a state budget is being developed right now that will have a huge impact on the state university system. Back with my guest on Newsmakers right after this. Back on Newsmakers, my guest today is Fred Kowal, the president of United University Professions, the union that represents 42,000 academics and professionals in the SUNY system. The governor's budget, Mr. Kowal, did not sit well with you or a lot of people who love the SUNY system, because he basically cut, I think, I read somewhere, $46 million from the budget. Does that still stand, or has there been enough committee work to bring some of that back? Tell me right now, overall, where the governor's budget proposal stands as regards SUNY.
Well, we are not where we need to be. That's quite simply the situation. Unless the legislature aggressively moves on the revenue front, which I believe is an absolute necessity. There needs to be an increase in taxes on millionaires and billionaires to generate revenue for the state of New York. They have made a lot of money during the pandemic. They need to pay their fair share, so that institutions like SUNY that have been on the front lines of this pandemic with the hospitals at Upstate, at Downstate, and Stony Brook, treating COVID patients since the start of the pandemic, and at the same time, our campuses serving as important places for testing and now vaccinations, I think it's imperative that the funding for SUNY be dealt with aggressively, but in order to do that, we need revenue. We need to make sure that $46 million cut simply does not happen. SUNY has been cut enough over the past 10 years. There is simply no more room for such cuts. It's impacting the students' careers at SUNY and their opportunity to move into the middle class. It's also affecting the upstate communities where we are located, because every dollar of SUNY spending generates $8 worth of further economic activity. That's how vital it is. And so we are fighting very rigorously with the legislature. We have seen some positive responses from legislators, but we're having a major event of advocacy next week. We want to make sure that our students are heard from and that legislators do the right thing. And then hopefully the governor agrees with an ambitious budget funded with revenue.
Yeah, this event you speak of is March 11th. It's a statewide advocacy day right in the middle of budget time. Tell me about this. You're going to bring students virtually to Albany to help you lobby for the budget you need?
Yes, we are. And in fact, as of noon, we are over 275 people registered, and roughly a half of them, a little more than half, are students from across New York State. We're working with the New York Public Interest Research Group. Also, we're working with the Student Assembly very extensively. We're partnering with them on this one. And it is imperative that students be heard from. Legislators really enjoy hearing from students more than anyone else. They hear from me all the time. But to hear from students who live in their communities, who are about the future of this state, this is an opportunity for these ambassadors for SUNY to talk about how the opportunity to have access to a world-class education is so vitally important, and that that education is affordable. In order for that to happen, the state must commit the money. Students have been paying more in tuition and fees every year for the past 10 years. They have done their fair share. So, now the state needs to come up with public money.
Yeah, I think a lot of people may have forgotten, Fred. I know I have, because I went to SUNY Geneseo, but there was a time when the state of New York provided, I guess, what you refer to as mission funding, which is basically a regular annual subsidy. That doesn't happen anymore?
It doesn't happen to the extent that it has in the past. Right now, state funding fuels about 35% of the cost of a SUNY education. Students pay the rest. Now, at some campuses, it's even less than that. It's much less. And here's the problem with a system that is funded overwhelmingly by tuition and fees. If enrollment declines, as it has during this pandemic, students are holding back on education for a lot of reasons, much of the economic. But when that happens and enrollment declines, that means the revenue to campuses declines precipitously. We can't have a state public education system funded in that way. So the mission funding is crucial. And what is our mission? Our mission is to educate and to build a better, more just New York State.
I wish I had the number in front of me. I could have sworn, maybe you can confirm it or correct me somewhere, that not only is enrollment down, but applications to the SUNY system for 21-22 are down on the order of maybe double digits, 14%, that new incoming applications are down system-wide.
Yes, and a lot of that is in the community colleges, which is very unusual. Typically, in an economic downturn, enrollment at community colleges improves because people, may not be working, and so they want to go back to school and improve their skills, and then hopefully after the recession passes, they can get a better paying job. We're not seeing that happen, and it is to a large extent, again, because of the nature of the pandemic and hesitancy that people have, but also, there's not distance learning, online learning is not as popular with students. And there is an equity issue. Some folks simply cannot utilize online education because they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the Wi-Fi connection that's necessary to make it work. For the campuses, the comprehensive campuses and so forth, places like Cortland, places like Geneseo, we're not seeing as deep decline in applications, but there are certain campuses where we are seeing a drop-off, and that obviously concerns us.
All right, we have more to talk about when we return with Fred Kowal on our Newsmakers program. Don't go away. We're talking about opportunity and equal opportunity for all when we come back. Fred Kowal from UUP back with me. Fred, you mentioned about the disparity in opportunities, socioeconomic opportunities for kids to even think about affording college. Mid-February, your operation, the union, and SUNY announced a new way to approach EOP. Can you tell me what's new on that front?
Yeah, it's a very exciting proposal that SUNY has made, and actually it mirrors one that we first started talking about around 2 years ago, and spoke with legislators about it. About a year ago, we started to generate an idea of how we could go forward to address the issue of a coming shortage in a whole host of medical professions, from physicians to x-ray techs to physical therapists. I mean, a whole battery of professions that are going to see shortages. We've heard about the shortage of nurses, and it's in fact across the medical professions as we go forward. The other issue is a lack of diversity in the professions that needs to be addressed. And so where our idea is what about taking a look at the Educational Opportunity Program, which is so amazingly successful in SUNY? Why don't we come up with a program that is based on that model to bring in students who may not have the resources to get into medical school, get them into medical school, support their education, get them to graduate, and return to their communities to serve them in the healthcare professions. And SUNY proposed what they call Preop, preparation for medical school education. It is very similar to the proposal that we've made, medical EOP, and we are in constant conversations with SUNY about how best to work with the legislature to get funding for such a program, to get it off the ground and get it to expand quickly. Right now, the program is going to be based at SUNY Upstate, at that medical college, and as for this summer program where it's going to be beginning. But we are working to make a long-term state investment for a program that is at all of SUNY's medical colleges so that we can grow the population of those caring for the sick, but then at the same time, diversifying that population. It's a very exciting idea, and I'm very pleased that the Chancellor is on board, and we've gotten support in the legislature as well to go forward with it.
Now, the Chancellor also announced that starting in September, they're going to do a system-wide survey of racial discrimination to make sure that these inequities that have been laid bare by the pandemic and by other stressors are addressed. Do you think right now, as we sit here in mid-March, how is the racial situation on campuses when it comes to opportunities, discrimination? Everybody's talking about it now. How does SUNY stack up right now?
I think that there has been a problem that has been long-term in SUNY. I've seen it in my own experience at SUNY Cobleskill. Primarily, it's been in two areas. One is in recruiting a diverse mix of faculty and staff to come to small upstate communities where individuals from communities of color will be in a very small minority in these populations and may not feel comfortable because of the realities, unfortunately, that exist in far too many upstate communities. And I shouldn't say just upstate. It's the case across our country. Let me make that clear. But the other situation we have seen, or I also saw, was where students would be coming to campuses from communities of color and again have that same hostility, whether it's in the community or sometimes, unfortunately, even on campuses. I applaud the Chancellor's moves on this. We have called for an ambitious search and hiring of diverse faculty and staff such that 25% of the faculty and staff at SUNY will be from underrepresented communities of color by 2025. It's going to take resources. It's going to take a pipeline program to bring people in from these communities who want to teach in SUNY, and we've got to have the support networks so that people feel safe and at home in communities where they move to, where they may be the first person of color to live in such a community. But we have to address this aggressively. I applaud what the Chancellor is doing, but there is much work to be done on this, and it's got to be done aggressively and quickly in order to deal with this endemic and long-lasting racism within our society.
You mentioned money again, that you're going to need resources to attract good faculty across the spectrum to come. And you mentioned something earlier I'd like you to elaborate on about the fact that the pandemic, with its remote learning in many cases, has made a lot of moms, dads, and prospective students wonder about the value of a college education. Can you speak to that now as we've changed some learning modes? They think, well, maybe this isn't worth it if I'm going to go and do remote learning as much as I'm going to be in the classroom. The value of a public college education.
And you have really struck the nail on the head, Dan. It is a great concern to all of us in higher ed that the work we do is predicated on building a community at college campuses where students come. They are part of this learning community, but it's also part of socializing and becoming an adult. That's what goes on in a campus community. And so without that, the question, of course, is going to be asked by parents, by students themselves. Should I expend the amount of financial resources that I have to in order to experience something virtually that is not satisfactory? And we also have to face the reality that for a lot of our students, far too many, the idea of being online is a challenge, as I said, because they come from under-resourced communities and families where they may not have the computer technology, where they may not have the internet hookup, and for all those reasons, they simply cannot take part in education online. So, as going back to your earliest question, we need to get back to in-person education as soon as we can safely.
Take a final break and come back with a final word right after this. Fred, you've only got about 15 seconds to answer this. All the challenges we've talked about, are you bullish on SUNY still going forward?
Yes, because I think that SUNY is uniquely positioned to address all of the major crises facing our state and our society. Everything from healthcare to the climate crisis to affordable education for everyone. SUNY is positioned to take on these challenges, and we have to. So yes, I'm bullish.
That's a good way to leave it. Fred Kowal, president of United University Professions. We appreciate you being on Newsmakers again. Stay healthy and have a good week, okay?
Thanks a lot, Dan. You too.
See you soon.